Hello guys, welcome to part number 2 of our little video series with a host, with a guest on my little channel. So once again, hello to Mr. Jules.
Hello everyone.
Hello. So on the previous video we've introduced you, so just in a small reminder, so we have started working together, let's say about 11, maybe slightly more months ago. So we've saw in the previous video, so you started, let's say, as a complete beginner, maybe just knowing the rules of chess, maybe not too much
even
more than
every
that.
rule,
maybe not even every rule. And we came across a very a long way, and today you're first of all a rated player in the French like a federation, right? Which is nice. You also had the chance to play some tournaments, right?
Yeah.
And you also, so your initial rating on Lichess was I think 1100 approximately. And you reached today like a peak rating of 1770, I think.
Yeah, 1773.
That's the 1773. So more than 600 rating, like improvement. Not too bad for less than a year. So congratulations to you, first of all.
Thanks.
So in this video, in the previous video, we saw some of the first games you've played. So basically a lot of blunders, a lot of mistakes, tactical mistakes from both opponents. In this video, we're going to concentrate on some games from a more recent period of time. So we're going to see 3 games on the time control of approximately 15-20 minutes per game. So like a rapid chess. And we're going to focus on some more positional and ideas and strategy, which you started, I think, to implement once the blunders and the tactical errors started to reduce. So definitely, as time progressed, we have seen more of these kind of ideas. So this is the first game. You were playing black at this one. So,
yes, I was.
Yeah. So e4. C5, so this is an opening that we have started to discuss lately, the Sicilian. I think our main conclusion was that we want to reach an opening repertoire which will allow you to play a little bit of more sharp or more interesting games, more attacking games, right?
Yeah.
In the first period of time, we were usually playing the Caro-Kann, right?
Yeah, I didn't like it very much. I mean, I wanted to change.
I think it was a very good opening for you in terms of reaching stability. So in many of the games, you managed to get a very safe position without too much tactical opportunities for your opponents, and they would not be able to react very well, and they lost, I think, a lot of games because they just tried to attack you. But you had a very rock solid position, so they didn't manage so much.
Yeah, that's right.
So knight f3, g6. So this is what we call the hyper accelerated dragon. So one of the sharpest Sicilians you can choose. But the opponent here chose to play the move c3, trying to prepare some d4 move in the center.
Yeah.
As you remember, we discussed that it's not so easy for black to actually
prevent this.
Yeah, so usually what black is doing is not trying to prevent the move d4, but let's say to soften it or make it less appealing for white, let's say.
Yeah.
So you played an interesting move here, d5, striking in the center. I like this move because if it takes on d5, you can take with the queen, and now when the pawn in c3, there is no tempos with knight to c3, right? Is this something you saw during the game?
Yeah, that's why I played d5.
It's a very good move because now you also liberate your bishop to be developed. So he played e5. Okay. You played bishop g7, developing move, d4. Okay. So he did manage to create this strong center, but as compensation, you have, I think, a very free development of your pieces. Your bishop is easily getting out of the pawn chain. Your knight can be easily developed. So, so you played knight c6. I like this move. Bishop e3. He wants to defend his pawn. And here he played an interesting move, because in this pawn structure, with the pawn being on e5, it's always difficult to develop to the knight on f6, right?
Yeah.
So you thought, well, I might as well play knight h6. Why not? And it's especially good with the bishop being on e3, because you can hit it with tempo on one of these two squares. And from f5, you create even more pressure against the pawn on d4. So already nice kind of planning, nice strategy, putting knight on h6, even though it's on the rim, and we don't like usually to put our knights on the... Yeah, exactly. It's a dim or it's a grim. Usually we don't like putting our knights there, but here it has a very concrete purpose. So he played h3. I don't think it's a very good move, but you kind of managed to scare him with this idea. So he played h3. Yeah. Knight f5. Queen d2 he played. I don't think he played too well, but I want to show the viewers a couple of next moves kind of quickly. So you grab the bishop on e3, you get the two bishops advantage, which is nice.
Yeah.
And now you chose the move queen b6, which is a very nice move because the pawn on b2, as we see, is not well protected. And this move also creates more pressure against the pawn on d4. So he played the move b3. And now I wanted to ask you a question. So around this point, did you feel that something is wrong or maybe fishy about this diagonal?
Yeah, I play queen b6 because the move b3 is very weakening. I mean, I thought he would do it, so that's why I
exactly. This creates some weaknesses on the dark squares on the queen side, right?
Yeah.
Very good move.
And
you're completely right. And now this bishop on g7 at the moment seems kind of buried behind wall of pawns, right?
Yeah.
Let's put them on other color. But in the future, you managed to activate this bishop with some good positional moves. So you played castling. First of all, we castle, of course. Always we castle. Bishop e2. You developed your other bishop to f5. So I like this game because there is a very clear flow of development. You know, each move is developing the pieces. You made castling, you developed your queen. No waste of time. Very much to the point, which is very good. No moves which are, let's say, not in the spirit of the position.
Yeah, not so, like h3 that he did.
Yes, h3 for example is a bit out of not exactly in the spirit because it's just wasting some time. So you played knight e2, and now very good. So your bishop on g7 is your problematic piece at the moment, and you wanted to activate it. So do you remember how exactly did you do it?
Yeah, I think I took the pawn, the d4 pawn.
Yeah, you took on d4.
Yeah.
So first of all, clearing up a bit this diagonal, right?
Yeah.
And now came the move. You remember f6.
f6. Yeah.
Very good move. Now, white has, I think, no choice. He either must take on f6, after which you can take back with the bishop. Notice how suddenly the bishop is a very active piece, and you have a tremendous pressure against this pawn. I think he just cannot defend it.
Yeah, I don't think he can.
3 attackers, 2 defenders, and he just cannot make any move which will defend the pawn. So I don't know if intentionally or not intentionally, but he castled, which was a tactical mistake. You took on e5. He took back.
Then I took the queen.
Yeah,
and now I can take the pawn.
I think that's something that he missed. That once the queens get exchanged, there is one less defender against the pawn on e5, which means that you can just take on e5, right? And
my bishop is very, very good now.
Yes, this is precisely. Okay, there was the game even saw a slightly different move order. Doesn't really matter. He took with the knight on e5 first, then he took on e5, exchanged queens, and took on e5. Very, very good. I think practically this game was, of course, the game still lasted for many more moves, but you have a pawn up. Your bishops, this bishop especially is very strong, but the bishop here is also a very good piece, and you managed to convert in this position into a winning game on move number 61. So
Oh. Wow.
yeah, but very good strategy. Trying to open up your bishops helped you a lot in this game. Very good. So this was the first one. Second one, you were playing with the white pieces. So if you remember, this was around the time when we wanted to stop playing the London system, which we saw a lot on the first video, and we wanted to concentrate on an opening which was a bit, let's say, more principled or a bit more aggressive, and we wanted to start playing the Queen's Gambit, which is precisely what you did here. Very classical opening. So your opponent played e6, you played knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5, all very good standard moves, developing pieces. e3, h6, bishop h4. Your opponent actually delayed the move of castling a bit, which was a bit strange to me. He played b6. You played right now knight f3, developing. So we have like a very, let's say, clear plan here. We want to develop our pieces, and one day if the c file gets open, we already have the opportunity to create some pressure there, right?
Yeah.
He played here the move bishop a6. Once again, delaying castling, but creating a small threat against this pawn, right?
Yeah, I didn't remember that move. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I figured, but you played a nice move here. You wanted to defend the pawn, so you played knight e5, centralizing the knight. Good central outpost, right?
Yeah.
He played castling. And now you made a very nice move. Can you explain it? Rook c1. Why do you develop the rook first and not let's say
the
not,
bishop?
Let's say not the bishop. Yeah.
Because I really wanted to prevent the fact that if I developed my bishop,
let's suppose
then he would take the pawn and
we will
I would
tempo.
lose a tempo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's suppose you play bishop e2 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
then he can take.
Then he can take, and if you take with the bishop, as you can see, we took in 2 tempos, right? In 2 moves.
Yeah.
We want to take the pawn on c4 in 1 move, in 1 go. This is why this is a theme that we have learned in one of our sessions. It's maybe a good idea to develop the rook first. It's more flexible because the rook is always useful on c1, right? Because the file might get opened very quickly. And now that's what happened. He took on c4. And now you took with 1 go on c4, and it was very nice for us because later on the rook was very useful on the c file. You guys shall see. So good positional move there. He took on c4. He took with the knight, and now he played the move. I think he should have developed his knight finally, but he played knight e5.
Yeah.
Creating a threat against this bishop. So you took it. He took with the knight. Fine. Now you seize the chance to attack his rook, maybe queen f3.
Yeah.
And he played knight c6. So you castled, and now how do you, let's say, evaluate this position? Who has the advantage here?
Well, I'd say it's white has a slight advantage because, first of all, his rook is developed. His knights are a bit better, and his pawn structure is about equal, maybe slightly better.
Yes, you have one more pawn in the center. He does not. Yes.
Yeah.
And also, you have some space advantage, which means that your pieces have slightly more room.
Yeah.
And yeah, your rook on c1 is about to be very, very important on this game. This pressure against his targets on the c file.
Yeah.
So he played knight before. He played a nice developing move, rook f to d1, putting your last piece into the game. So all of the pieces developed. Also, you prevent this move knight d3 from him.
Yeah.
He played knight d5. You took it. Fine, pawn takes, and now knight e5. So from this point on, you had a very clear strategy in this game, I think. Can you explain it to us a bit?
Well, I wanted really to build up pressure against the c pawn, and basically that was it. Yeah, I wanted really to put all my strengths on this pawn.
How do you call this kind of pawn on c7?
Backward pawn.
Backward pawn, yes. This is a pawn which is a bit weak because it cannot be protected by other pawns, right?
Yeah.
And
he can't advance
exactly,
too, because my pawn is controlling. Yeah.
Exactly, and he cannot advance because then it gets taken, or if he gets on c5, it also gets taken. So very clear and easy strategy. Your opponent played. And probably a sensible move, f6, trying to fight against your strong knight in the center.
Yeah.
You played knight c6, very good move. Which is also suitable for your strategy, because once the knight's getting exchanged, now you can bring your other rook to attack the weak pawn on c7, right? So your opponent...
and the pawn is blocked.
The pawn is blockaded, right. So your opponent played queen d7. You played rook c1, according to the strategy. Rook a c8. And now I really liked your next move, move number 21. Do you remember it?
Yeah, it's just h3.
h3.
It's to prevent any backrank troubles.
That's a very mature move. So you didn't rush to kind of do anything, let's say, too quickly, because black has no counterplay. Black is very passive. So you were saying, let me just make a safe move, put my king out of potential danger, and let me just take my time and improve my position a bit before starting to do anything.
Yeah, he can't do anything, so...
Yeah, so you played rook e8, and now, yeah, well, my arrows kind of revealed what you did here, but that was maybe the most beautiful move of this game, or one of them, is queen e2, because you realize the queen is not doing too much on this square, right?
Yeah.
It's not suitable for your strategy, which is to pressurize the pawns maybe on the queen side, right?
Yeah.
So you said, how can I improve my queen? Well, queen e2. From there, the queen might get there, but it also might get on c2 in order to increase the pressure on this pawn, right?
Yeah.
So he played rook e6, trying to exchange your strong rook. It's understandable. And now, nice move. You took and played queen a6. And the queen here is extremely annoying for black, right? Attacking the rook, attacking the pawn. And probably black has to give up one pawn in order not to lose the game, right? So he played c5. I think at this point he missed the fact that the pawn is pinned. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I think too.
Yeah, because you just took it, and once again, tactically alert. So even if you play a good game from strategic point of view, it's very important still to be on the alert tactically, which you did. You took the pawn and you saw that you cannot take back, so you played a move like rook c6. But now you already gained one pawn, thanks to your good kind of positional play. You took one more pawn on a7, which simultaneously also protects the pawn on c5, right?
Yeah.
And you took it, and basically, after a couple of exchanges, you reached this position, which you have managed to win very easily, because you have two pawns up, which are also passed pawns, right?
Yeah.
And I think very good game on your side. Those little moves helped you a lot. So for example, the move queen e2 with a good positional idea, h3, very good strategic game. So
Yeah.
this was kind of, I think, one of the periods of time where you actually kind of started implementing those kind of ideas more often.
Yeah.
So I know that you're a bit short of time, so I'll think
Okay.
maybe these 2 games will be enough. So on the third video, on the third part, we will try to concentrate, after seeing some positional themes in your games, we will try to concentrate on more dynamic themes. We will see some games of yours when you started implementing some ideas of sacrificing material, fighting for the initiative, this kind of things, which is, let's say, level 3 of chess understanding, let's say.
Yeah.
We can say.
Okay.
Great, so thanks you guys for watching this video. Thank you to
thank you.
Jules, for being a special guest in this in those videos. And yeah, and we'll see each other on the next video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you.
See you.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye.